Hi, let's start through percentage leases as a type of ownership restriction.
Percentage lease calculation. This is a type of a commercial lease used when revenue is generated by a business in gross sales. A percentage lease payment is calculated based on the tenant paying a base rent plus a percentage of gross sales. Percentage lease calculation. The following steps is the process to follow to determine how much is owed based on a percentage lease. First, you multiply the monthly rent by 12 to determine the yearly base rent. Then you multiply the gross annual income, or gross sales, by the percentage charged to calculate the amount due for the additional rent. Finally, you add the yearly base rent to the additional rent to equal the total annual rent due. Story problem. Walter rented a food stand on the beach from landlord Lincoln for $1,000 a month plus 9% of gross sales. By the end of the first year, Walter earned a total gross sales of $200,000. How much total rent did Walter pay landlord Lincoln? Answer. To solve this problem, first you have to calculate the amount of base rent due. The monthly rental rate is $1,000 a month. Because there's 12 months in a year, you take your $1,000, multiply it by 12 to equal $12,000 as the base rent due. Then you calculate the amount of percentage rent due. So for that, we have our $200,000 in sales multiplied by 9% in our calculator, 0.09, to equal $18,000 as our additional rent due based on the gross sales. You can add the two together, add the total yearly base rent with the total percentage rent due in order to obtain the total rent due, or the rent that in this case Walter paid landlord Lincoln. So we have $12,000 plus $18,000 to equal $30,000 in total rent paid. Percentage, not gross lease. Be careful not to confuse a percentage lease with a gross lease. I've seen many students do exactly that as they mentally connect the words gross lease with gross sales. Gross lease is the most basic lease where the tenant pays the rent and maybe utilities, but all other expenses are up to the property owner. Percentage lease is based on a base rental amount plus a percentage of gross sales.